I used to believe that love could withstand anything. I thought my marriage was solid, that Sarah and I had built something unbreakable. We'd been together for 5 years, and I thought that meant something. We had the house, the life, the perfect little family, or so I thought. But that all changed with one moment. One discovery that shook me to my core. I found out my wife, Sarah, was cheating on me. And to make it worse, the person she was cheating with was none other than my best friend, Chris. I never saw it coming. And what's even worse? The epic revenge I took afterward will stay with me forever. Before I dive into this crazy roller coaster of betrayal and revenge, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You don't want to miss out on more stories of love, betrayal, and the lessons we learned from them. Trust me, this story is going to be one you won't forget. It all started like any other day. I came home from work early, thinking I'd have a quiet evening with Sarah. But when I walked in, something didn't feel right. There was a strange energy in the air, like something was off, but I couldn't put my finger on it. The house was too quiet. The usual sounds of Sarah bustling around weren't there. I called out, but there was no response. I found her in the living room, sitting on the couch. But there was something wrong. She wasn't alone. Chris, my best friend since college, was sitting next to her. They were laughing, talking like they didn't have a care in the world. It wasn't just any conversation, though. It was the way they were looking at each other, the way they were touching, the way their eyes locked. I didn't know what it was, but something in my gut told me this was more than just friendship. I stood frozen at the door, watching them, my heart starting to race. I thought maybe I was just being paranoid. I tried to shake it off, but I couldn't. There was an undeniable chemistry between them. That look they were giving each other wasn't the kind of look you give your friend's spouse. I walked away quietly, my mind spinning. I couldn't believe what I'd seen. And yet, deep down, I knew what was happening. This wasn't just in my head. This was real. The woman I married, the man I called my best friend, they had betrayed me. But how could I prove it? That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying what I saw over and over in my mind. What was I supposed to do? I was heartbroken, confused, and honestly, angry. But most of all, I felt helpless. I loved Sarah. I trusted Chris. How could they do this to me? Then, an idea came to me. If I couldn't confront them just yet, maybe I could gather some evidence. I needed to know the truth, once and for all. So, I did something I never thought I'd do. I set up a hidden camera in the living room. I knew that if I was going to confront them, I needed to have undeniable proof. The truth had to come out. The next evening, I came home late, intentionally giving them time to make their move. The camera I installed was positioned perfectly to capture everything. I waited anxiously in my car, watching the live feed from my phone. What I saw shattered me. Sarah and Chris were in the living room again, but this time, it was different. This time, there was no denying what was happening. They were sitting close together, and before I could blink, they kissed. It was everything I needed to see. They were cheating. It was my worst nightmare come true. And the worst part was, it wasn't just one kiss. It went on for minutes, and I could feel the weight of it all hitting me like a ton of bricks. My heart felt like it had been ripped from my chest. I didn't know what to do with that footage. Part of me wanted to confront them right away, but another part of me wanted to let it sit. I wanted to savor the moment, let them feel the weight of their betrayal before I took action. The next day, I knew I had to confront Sarah. I couldn't just sit on this anymore. I needed to know why. Why would she do this to me? Why would she betray everything we had built? So, I called her into the living room, sat her down, and played the video. Her face went pale as the footage played. She didn't speak at first, and when she finally looked up at me, there were no words, no excuses, no remorse. "Sarah, how could you do this to me?" I asked, my voice breaking. "How could you do this with Chris, my best friend?" She looked away, tears starting to form in her eyes. But instead of the apology I expected, she just said, "I'm sorry, Jason. It just happened." And that was it. That was all I got. No real apology, no reason, nothing. I stood up, shaking with anger. "I want a divorce," I said. The words felt like they were tearing me apart, but I had no other choice. I couldn't stay married to someone who didn't value me, who didn't care about our vows or the life we'd built. But I wasn't done yet. I wasn't just going to walk away. I needed to make them feel the weight of what they'd done to me. I called Chris. I knew I had to confront him, too. But this time, I wasn't going to be the nice guy. This time, I was going to make sure he understood exactly what he had done. When he arrived, I was calm. I didn't raise my voice. I simply said, "You betrayed me. You slept with my wife. I want you to understand what that feels like." He tried to apologize, but I didn't want to hear it. What good was an apology now? It wasn't going to change anything. But then, I hit him with the real kicker. I told him I was going to get a DNA test for the child Sarah had been claiming was mine. The truth came crashing down. The child wasn't mine. It never was. Sarah had been hiding it from me, and I had no idea how far her lies went. I felt a sick sense of satisfaction, not just because I had uncovered the truth, but because I had control again. I was the one who got to decide what happened next. And when I filed for divorce, I made sure that everything was in my favor. I wasn't going to let her or Chris walk away from this without feeling the consequences of their actions. The days after the divorce were a blur, but I realized something important. Sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't about getting back at someone. It's about reclaiming your own dignity and walking away with your head held high. If you've ever been betrayed like I was, you know how much it hurts. But remember, you can always take back control. Don't let anyone take away your dignity. Don't let anyone treat you like you're disposable. If you've learned something from my story, hit that subscribe button. And if you've been through something similar, leave a comment below and let me know how you handled it. Don't forget to share this with someone who needs to hear it.